my peeps, and welcome back to Passionate People and Preposterous Peeves. I am still your host, Ike. And before I forget what words I'm saying, I'd like to just take a moment and say thanks for being here and giving this pod a listen. It means a lot to me that you chose to use your precious time and give me and my guests your ears. Now, if after all this fantastique, you still have the wherewithal, it'd be really cool if you shared this with someone who you think would like it, or just subscribe yourself if you already haven't. That'd be dope. Or, if you want to tell me the parts of the show you were passionate about, peeved you off, or just say hi, you can always reach me on Twitter at @likeikes and via email passionandpeevespodcast@gmail.com. Still have not found a good way to say that without saying at twice. Really random aside. All right, so since we last spoke, or you heard me go blah blah blue about what was going on in my life, I have and believe I told you guys about my magic podcast, Split Second Sorcerers. Currently putting it on a hiatus for an indeterminate amount of time. Part of this is I have something else in the works, and I want to focus the kind of free space in my brain over there. More on that at 11 when it comes to fruition. I will let you guys know. It's very exciting. The other bit is getting guests in general, just so you know, for this podcast is really fucking hard. Just so you guys know, this is like actively one of the hardest parts about this. I love doing the podcast. I've tried to find and hire producers. That's not a position that readily exists yet that I can just like LinkedIn, seemingly. Not that I have that much cash lying around to afford that. But it's something that's really hard. I want you guys to know that for this podcast and for other podcasts, it is like actively difficult. And the most annoying part about this is constantly setting that up. And with that one, I was having difficulties where I was reaching out because I had a very select audience. It's, Magic the Gathering based, an area where I know a lot of people, and trying to get people of note. And I was able to get some. I was able to get, Pro Tour champion and all-round awesome dude Reed Duke, fantastic Frenchman Gabriel Nassif. I know this names probably don't mean much to either anybody listening, but they're really amazing people I'd always kind of looked up to, and I was able to get them. But then there was other people just trying to pepper in, fill in stuff, and reaching out to people unless you know people who know people, and even then you're asking like 3 people a favor. It's really hard. I mean, no shame on people for rejecting me. That's fine. You got lives to live. Sometimes that's not your cup of tea. I get it. One of the issues I was running into, to vent a moment, I apologize, is that people will say, and I would recommend if somebody reaches out for a favor, for you to be a guest on their podcast or anything like this, if somebody reaches out to you and goes, hey, would you like to do this thing? And you're unsure or don't want to, say no. Don't string them along. I think the nicest way you can say no is, now's not a really good time. Can I reach out to you when I've got an opening? That's valid. But so many people are like, yeah, hit me up. Hit him up. Hit him up. Hit him up. Just, and maybe I'm being, angry towards their, or like kind of supposing that this is what they meant. However, the amount of times it's happened, just fucking say no. If somebody asks you to do something, you don't want to do it, it's fine. Fucking say no. It's all good. Otherwise, you're going to hurt yourself because they're going to reach out and you're going to feel bad, I hope. Or, just fucking say no. Goddamn. It's so infuriating. It really, at least for me. Maybe other people don't mind. But for me, it feels like getting tantamount to getting gaslit. And is... yeah. So, I'm going to put my soapbox away, rant over, and tell you about the hilarity that was my Friday and Saturday morning. So, these last couple weeks, after deciding to put Split Second Sorcerers on hiatus, I was kind of not feeling in the dumps, but just kind of like my brain was in a weird place. Maybe it was the dumps. I don't know. And so I've not been doing my morning activities. Also, kind of hurt my foot and like fell for the first time in I think actually a decade. I've got anybody that knows me. I have really good reflexes when it comes to staying on my feet. And this is the first time I end up catching my foot in a gutter and just going ass over tea kettle. Ended up just getting my knee, didn't do anything more. I'm really surprised, and knock on wood, I've never twisted my ankle, regardless of how many times I've put it in positions where I believe it should have. Either which way, last couple weeks have not been working out. I've been getting up later and later, enjoying sleeping in, just kind of being, reverting to my 16-year-old self while adults weren't around and just acting a little bit irresponsible. Which would have you, I end up going to work, running a little bit late. I go around the corner to the 7-Eleven that is near my workplace. Just gonna get, a cup of caffeine, go right back to work. I walk in there, grab my cup of caffeine, walk up to the counter, and there's a man. Let me paint you a picture, because this was DEA lightful. The man sitting at the counter is wearing either short pants or long shorts, and I really couldn't tell which. They go all the way up to right above his buttocks, where then we get the delightful sight of his red Hanes underwear. I know they're Hanes because it said it on like the little lippy thingy, little top. And then after that, we get a little cute look at his belly as it protrudes a little bit. Then with a shirt that, again, either got shrunk in the wash or was a little too short for him. Atop the shirt, after his belly, but not like his rib cage, we get a somehow wildly askew fanny pack. I don't know how it's askew because all fanny packs look whack, but this one looked extra whack. Then, on the counter in front of him, the wares he is looking to purchase, we have a dozen single wrapped green apple like pocket, like the dollar like store things that are just 100% are going to give you cancer and high blood pressure. Like these green apple pies. Next to that, he's got 4 or 8 slices of pizza. I actually can't tell which. It's 4 boxes of the pizza you can get at 7-Eleven, which those are great. I'm not knocking that. It's just the amount is curious. So there's either 4 slices or 8 slices. And then a big old fuck you cold pack of Ricola. As I walk up, he asks the lady behind the counter for 2 bottles of Dayquil and 2 bottles of NyQuil. And I'm just enjoying the view, not judging the man, just like, this is a lot. I'm taking it in. Then he turns to me and goes, "Are you super wealthy?" Never been asked that question, let alone in a 7-Eleven where there's no fucking way somebody who is super wealthy is going to be there. But I'm like, not laughing at the man. I'm like, no, I'm not super wealthy, man. And he goes, "Okay, cool. I got you." And he points to my, cup of caffeine. I'll buy it for you. "Oh, thank you very much. This is fantastic. Showed up late, got free cup of caffeine. Love that. Got a sight, a show, and a drink. This is fantastic." Put it on the counter. He pulls out a wad of like 20s with little, I'm presuming that's where the money was from, was like cashed lottery tickets, but honestly, easily could have been ones that he bought previously. I don't know. But he's got lottery tickets sticking in and out of there. And he's like peeling off 20s, and then he just peels off a $100 bill and turns to me and just hands it to me. Day's getting better. I'm like, "Oh, thanks." I just put it in my wallet. He goes, "Yeah." Gets a bag for my cup of caffeine, hands me my cup of caffeine. He's like, "Here you go." I was like, "Thanks, man. Have a nice day." He goes, "You too." And then turns back to the counter to pick up all of his now bought items. It took me 3 blocks for me to stop saying, "What?" I was questioning reality the whole walk back from the 7-Eleven to my workplace. Anyway, hope you enjoyed that as much as I did, because that was fantastic. Then, to top it off, the following day, I have my weekly fantastic meeting with my therapist at 9 a.m. I love that meeting. It's fantastic. I get up, get there on time, get a little bit of stuff that I want to done, because I know that afterwards I'm going to leave to go play a Magic tournament. Fine. Get online, wait, click on the link, and realize it's crossed out. It's like, wait, I didn't cancel this. Why would it says canceled? I check my email. For whatever reason, my therapist had to cancel. Like, he let me know the day before. I just didn't see the email because I get too many emails and I don't check them, sadly. Okay, darn. Now I have time. Awesome. So I take care of some other business around the house. Tournament starts at 12, I think, he said, foreshadowing. Get some stuff done. Look, okay, it's an hour to get there. All right, let's leave at 10:30. We'll have a half an hour when we get there. It'll be chill. Nice. Leaves room for traffic. Leaves room for whatever. Leaving to go to my car to drive up to the valley. For whatever reason, just to double check, just in case, I check the listing of the tournament, and I sadly see it starts at 11. So, as it is an hour drive, I am definitely going to be late, and it is no longer worth my time. And luckily enough, I have not pre-registered, so I am not down any money. Call the place, say, hey, by the way, I'm not coming. I know I put a name on the list, but sorry. And they go, oh, thank you for letting us know. And I think it's the first time in my life that I can think of where something like this happened, where I was wrong, and I kind of fucked my plans. So I like going and playing this tournament, seeing my friends, trying to achieve magical greatness. And as I walked back to my my apartment, I laughed. It's a weird thing to be proud of, laughing at your own foolishness at the age of 36. But it was hilarious. And while I don't wish that upon any of you to have your plans run afoul, but if and when they do, I hope you're able to have the random serendipitous clarity of mind to receive it as I did, as just hilarious. That you were so foolish, and that you were so fortunate to just randomly check at the right time. Anyway, today we have a fantastic guest for y'all. This is Mr. Anderson. First name, Austin. I met Austin playing Magic at my local haunt, Turn Zero Games, on a Monday. He is an amazing, hilarious, tall as crap. You're not going to know that, but he is tall as shit, man. And I hope you enjoy listening to this interview as much as I did recording it with him. Take it away, past me. All right, folks, tonight you're in luck. We have with us a fixer of over 1,000 MacBooks, currently ranked top 500 in RuneScape, and son of a professional DJ. It's Austin Anderson!
What an intro.
Can't be topped. No one's ever done it before.
I love it.
Well, speaking of things you may love, my guy, what is your passion that you've brought with you today?
Well, I'm here to talk about filmmaking and video games, but in my world, I kind of like to combine the two, and I make documentaries about video games.
What? How did this get started?
That's pretty cool.
Sounds like, is this, all right, is this a unique field, or like, how rare a bird are you in this regard?
Oh my God, that's a good question. I guess it goes back to how I got started doing this. You kind of got to get lucky, or at least in my case, I got really lucky to get into this field. My college roommate ended up being the MVP of the Call of Duty Professional League, and I was a photography major, and I was doing filmmaking as a minor. And so I just started following him around, making vlogs for him, and taking photos for his Instagram. And then he got picked up on like the most popular like professional esports team in the world, or in USA at least. And then I started going to all his tournaments and ended up getting a job out of it.
Did you have to like ask to get a job? Did they approach you? Did he ask on your behalf?
Oh my God.
How did that bridge get crossed?
Dude, so it was kind of like an unexplored like potential occupation. I was just doing it for fun, basically. I would go to every one of his tournaments. I would sleep on his floor in the room. I was making like film projects for my class. I was doing like photography, and I was just submitted it as my assignments. And I was mostly just like hanging out with my friends. And it turned out like I was sending so many photos to my friend Kenny, and then he was sending them to the people that run the social medias for his gaming team. And they were like ended up giving me some type of like payment per picture, or payment per video, and it got so much they were hiring me like back to back as the years went on. But I had to do it for about 4 years before I actually got like a real paid gig full time. And I was just doing it at every tournament I could think of, and I was just going for fun.
So was it enough that it was a job before it was a job, or was it just, oh, this will pay for the weekend, this will buy me some food, maybe even, go towards like a new lens or something like that?
Dude, I was going like net negative. I would
Yeah.
basically spend a lot up front to just like fly there, like rent some gear, maybe had to like lease editing software from Adobe, just like paid for it monthly. And so I was losing
Oh,
like
you didn't borrow,
probably,
you didn't use your your free school account?
dude, what's crazy is like only the film majors got the school account, and I was like a film minor, so I didn't realize that when I signed up for that crap. So I
Get
was
wrecked,
losing like
nerd.
$200 a weekend negative,
I
and so I was literally doing it because it was like just a
the love
passion.
of the game.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and I played the game too. Like I was big into competing in Call of Duty when I was younger, like before I was 18, and then in college I was like, all right, these hands are getting old. I'll leave it to the pros.
So, did you, even before you got hired by them, did you feel like, I'm taking further steps towards my dream? You talked about photography, filmmaking. You're in this adjacent field. Did you feel like this was kind of, it was good for your reel? Like, you're working towards this for maybe another project if this doesn't pan out? Or were you hoping that this was going to turn into what it did?
No, like that's exactly how I had to justify it. When I was like losing almost like a couple thousand a year, like traveling like every
Yeah.
month just to go to these things, I was like, all right, something has to come from this. And I decided like the only way I can make it like a full-time job is if I actually moved to LA. Because at the time we were in Memphis, Tennessee. So I decided to like move all the way out to LA, just kept my retail job at the Apple store, and I was fixing computers all day, every day. And then on the weekends, I would take off or like use my part time hours to just not get scheduled on the weekends. And so I was doing that until I could find like an in, I guess you could say.
If this sadly had not worked out, what was the time frame when you'd be like, all right, I gave it a good run? What was there an expiration date for this experiment?
Bro, so I moved to LA mid pandemic, like 2020 slash 2021-ish. And I moved out here with like basically no plan B. Like the plan B was I would just try to manage an Apple store or something.
Yeah.
But I was just gonna go day to day, try my hardest at work, but I was just gonna keep going to these tournaments as long as my friend was playing. And I was
Yeah.
gonna go, if it took 10 years, I would just keep doing it because I was enjoying it. You know what I mean?
So, were you like racking up debt, or were you just like, was this effectively, if you took this to an accountant, would this basically have been billed under like hobby,
Oh, I
like
see what
that?
you're saying. So basically, I was pretty much neutral. Like anything that came in, I would put it back into the craft, whether it was buying like a new lens, buying a new computer, buying a MacBook to like, keep up with all these edits and videos and stuff. So I wasn't losing anything and I wasn't making anything. So anything that came in, I was spending just literally rent, food, camera stuff, plane ticket, nothing else really.
Okay.
I
So
had my games and
you
that's
were
it.
getting by. You weren't thriving, but you weren't like molding either.
There were definitely like months where I was super negative, but I never told anybody at the time. Like I would just like I would be all right. My credit limit is this. In 2 weeks, I can make this back, and if I don't eat on Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, I could probably pay another flight at the end of the month, kind of thing.
You were doing the Hollywood story of, just like living on the crumbs, just like
See,
need this Wonka ticket to get pulled.
exactly. That's why I say I got lucky because it literally felt like a Wonka ticket when I finally like I applied for so many different like esports teams and jobs until I finally got the offer from the actual team my friend was
Oh,
playing
okay.
on.
No, so you weren't waiting for this team. You were out there wheeling and dealing, trying to get your
Oh,
foot in the
dude.
door at all these
Yeah,
places.
like not only was I going to the Call of Duty tournaments, but I was going to other games with other pros that I had met from going to the Call of Duty tournaments, like friends of friends, and I was like sleeping on floors. I was like sleeping in an airport until I could afford the Airbnb like the next day. Like I would go and like, all right, the Airbnb I can't get it until like 10 a.m. and the only flight that I could afford like arrived the day before at midnight. So I would like burn 12 or 10 hours like in an airport until I could go check in and stuff.
Oh God. How rarefied air is this field? Is this something that, if somebody heard this story, they'd be like, oh, is this something someone can aspire to, or do they too have to effectively win the lottery? Like, are you one of 10, one of 100, one of 10,000? What are we looking at
Yeah,
here?
man, I'd probably say in the US, maybe if there are, let's just go higher and let's just say there's 20 professional esports teams. Maybe only 15 or 10 of them have the budget to hire full-time staff. So like now there's even more, like 10 to 15 potential jobs for this. But when I was doing it, like the job didn't really exist yet. So I am like one of the first to have the job, but then there are going to be more in the next 5 years, 10 years. It'll become more viable.
Damn. What were there other, jobs that you were kind of looking at throwing your resume to, or was this the only one where you just like hell bent on, I want to, cover esports. I love video games. I love, to put it like mildly, taking pictures and making, short films.
Dude, like I was almost just gonna say chalk it. This is too much. I'm just gonna try to go pro because I wanted to live and breathe like in this sphere of like competitive esports and like pro gaming. I either wanted to play, I either want to be a manager, I wanted to shoot photos, and I was like, I'm just gonna stick to the photos and video stuff because that's what I have schooling in.
Yeah.
And I was gonna get a job in this field, whether it was in IT,
Hell or
fixing
high
their
water.
computers.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Damn. So even though you have kind of climbed the mountain, so to speak, is this, are you at the peak, or what would your dream involvement with esports orgs, given your circumstance now? Are you at, Everest, or is there higher places to ascend to?
So, for what I enjoy doing, which is the documentary aspect, where you follow the team throughout their like online matches throughout the year, and then you travel with them to the big major event with huge like $1 million, sometimes $2 million prize pools. You do all that, and sometimes, w- what am I trying to say? It, we asked your question again, Isaac. I'm sorry.
No, you're all good. So, for a lot of people, when we have this conversation, they are either still in the minor leagues,
Oh, I see the
trying to go
Everest.
for, yeah,
What I was trying to get at is me personally, like this is my Everest. There's room to go up, but I would be fine just doing exactly what I'm doing, making
yeah,
documentaries for at least 10 more years. Like then I
hell
might get
yeah.
tired of it, but as long as people I know are still playing, that's almost like what keeps me invested is like I know all the pros, I know the game, I understand all the concepts. Like as long as I'm still like cool with it, I don't think I even want to go up, down, or anything like that. I just want to sit in this like little sweet spot. I'm like
The way
towards
you,
the bottom of the totem pole, but it
yeah,
feels like a sweet spot for me personally.
hell yeah. It almost sounds like the way you said, people I know in this game that I love. It almost sounds like you get to be a professional fan.
Dude, it's so true. Like I'm running like helping post on Twitters and Instagrams and Reddit and stuff like that, essentially as a fan, and I'm just making stuff that I would want to see if I were not the producer. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like if you were just the consumer, you'd be like, this is fucking dope.
Exactly.
Uh, did it need to be this what was there something special about this team other than your boy being on it, or was it just, any team
Dude, it
that,
was the esport that I preferred, which was Call of Duty. So I played Call of Duty since I was probably way too young, like 9 or 10. Like I was sneaking games
didn't
out of
look at
like,
that ESRB plus 13 on it.
dude, I was
Like, nah,
renting it
okay.
at Blockbuster, like kind of thing, like convincing grandma that it was fine. And
No, 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 no. The blood's just red paint.
yeah,
You're
yeah, yeah.
fine.
No, there's no blood. This isn't the blood one. This
It's
isn't the blood one.
paintball.
Yeah, like, no, you can't talk to other grown men on Xbox Live. I don't have a mic. They're not going to say anything to me. They're not going to talk to me. It's just going to be me and single player. Yeah, dude, it's the game
It's
that I wanted.
basically a history. It's
Yeah,
basically a history
it's like
test.
World War II. It's historical. Like I'm learning about. Never mind.
I
Yeah,
100% used that when I got I think like my dad got me playing the first, like, it was either Medal of Honor or like Call of Duty 2.
exactly. I was
And
playing
I was
all
like,
that.
"Oh, yeah, yeah, no, it's like historical wars. I'm learning so much." He's like looked at me like, "I don't buy it, but I'm out of
Dude, it was a red
here."
flag when like my parents, like we're in the South, like guns are legalized. We would see them in Walmart, we'd see them in Bass Pro Shop, and I would go look at them, and I would be rattling off like the gun type, the ammo. Oh, that's an assault rifle. I'm like 11. I'm like, yeah, the AR-15, like it's got little to no recoil. my mom or whoever's with me, they're like, wait a minute, like, where did you learn
It's
that?
got accuracy to like 1,200 feet.
That's what I'm saying. Like, there's no bullet drop. And I'm like, I'm looking at scopes. I'm like, can I see the thermal? Dude behind the counter's like, where's your mom?
Dude, we don't have that. This is Bass Pro Shop.
So funny. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So if your buddy was going, and feel free to pass on this as if this is going to put you in hot water at work, but if your buddy had gotten to go to any COD team in the country, on the globe, is this the one that you wanted him to go to, or is there a different team that you would have liked him to end up on so
That's
that
a
you could have worked for him?
really good question. So the guy who started the team I work for, I'll say it, it's called 100 Thieves. He was one of my like YouTube, like I wouldn't want to call it idols, but somebody I would watch every single day.
Yeah.
And he ended up founding the company and the organization that my boy got drafted onto. So it was an insanely perfect storm. So it is here. But since then, like since I've moved here and started working there, my homie got traded. So he actually plays for a Texas team now.
Oh no!
But I'm still here. I'm still cooking because
Yeah.
I'm
But
like I said, I'm in my sweet spot.
dude, this has like all the makings. Like, if you want to get self-aggrandizing, you could make a doc about your story, and then if like if 100 Thieves plays against the Texas team in the finals, like you'd have to root against your boy.
I'm literally in the process of making that doc right now.
Yo!
Yeah. Like, it's not about me, but it's about my team and the story, and it's just insanely full circle. But yeah, they're gonna end up playing.
No, dude, that's like such a Hollywood
it,
story though. Like I can find you, if you give me an hour, I could find you at least 10 at like athletic, like sports movies where somebody got like, I don't know if you ever saw A League of Their Own literally ends the movie that way. It's
dude, he
literally
got traded
sister
to our
playing against
rival.
sister.
It's just like
Oh my
that.
god!
He got traded to our rival team.
Steal home.
Yeah, dude, exactly. Like, bro, it's kind of scary because, like, I don't want to be caught cheering for my own team, but I do work there. Yeah, no, I will bleed red. That's our colors, and he's on a green team, so I'm rooting for my boy at all times until he plays against my current team. Because now I'm rooting for my homies on this team that I'm on right now. Yeah.
So this is going to be a bit nebulous and abstract, but if you were to try and explain to people why you love this in just one sentence, how would you do it?
Dude, it's almost like I get to feel like a kid again, like every single day. Like I get to make stuff that I've always grew up watching, which were basically gaming videos, vlogs, and documentaries and stuff like that. And there's nothing better than that feeling. And if I can just like savor that as long as possible, I'm happy.
Fuck yeah. Is there anything that you can think of that would, other than, like just growing tired of it, separation, whatever, what would stop you from coming back to this?
Man, it would have to be it would have to be if it just went on too long, or if I was going so dead broke that like I couldn't afford to feed myself. There's little to nothing that could kind of
Some
take me
Blizzard
off of this
chicanery.
path. It seems like it took so long to get here. Like I'll
Yeah.
do everything in my power. Like I'll die for this thing.
Fuck yeah. So you said you were working at the Apple Store. So my understanding is you were working at the Apple Store back in Memphis,
Exactly.
and then
Yeah.
just transferred out
All
here.
through college, and that was how I was paying to go on all the stuff. So I was like part-time student, part-time Apple, part-time taking photos and videos.
All the parts. And then when
Yeah.
you moved out here, you were still, how long were you at Apple before you got picked up?
Bro, when I moved out here, it was my actual shift from going from a part-time Apple person to a full-time genius. And I literally was doing 40 to 50 hours sometimes, especially during like the holiday season, just whipping MacBooks in the back, just replacing screens, like fixing batteries, telling people their stuff is not fixable and all that. And so I did it for about a full year, and I was doing part-time photo stuff like in my old ways, just like traveling to every event before I actually a job opened up. Because like when I was applying for it, like the job really didn't exist. It was like only part-time work in that field. And so when a full-time thing finally came up, I was like, oh my God, this is it. And I applied for it, and then I didn't get it. And then I applied for it again, then I got it.
So, all right, well, I gotta stop right there. When you saw that posting for the first time, was that like, you know, Christmas or like the release of, the Xbox 360 kind of feeling where it was like, it exists. Oh my God, it's real. It's here. Like, how did you feel when you saw
Bro,
that listing for that job that
I
you had
applied
basically
for
been?
something completely different than what I got. And I just so happened to get hired on to basically like produce podcasts like in a studio and do a bit of editing on the side. And then once I got in, I was like explaining what I really wanted to do. And they could kind of like hear the passion and they're like, okay, yeah, you can pivot. You can pivot. And then they got somebody else to do the podcast stuff. And then I was like, hell yeah, I'm in on Call of
how,
Duty now. We're locked. I just
how
needed
long?
my foot in the door.
Hell yeah! How long did it take you to do that pivot? Were you like day one? By the way, like
No, no, not
as
at
they're
all.
giving
You know
you
how
your
it
key
goes? Like,
card.
not at all. I would just got in and just try to do my absolute best, like every single day, like be the first
Yeah.
one in, last one out, until finally I waited for like the perfect opportunity where somebody like, you know how bosses will be, they'll say, well, where do you see yourself in 3 years, 5 years, or whatever?
Yeah.
And I was like, now's my chance. I waited for the like golden opportunity because if I was like pushy, I was afraid it would ruin my chances and I would lose my
Sir, you have
momentum.
activated my trap card.
Yeah, exactly, bro. I'm playing Yu-Gi-Oh out there.
So if God forbid this, this opportunity to, because like if I understand correctly via your emphaticism, if you had gone on the team, they never gave you that position. Working for that team, doing the podcast thing might have been enough, or it might have
It
been
would
enough
have
to
been
get.
definitely enough.
Yeah,
I
but
just wanted a career like in gaming, so I
yeah.
would have done that until I either moved up or I would still be doing it like 2 years later right now. Like I wouldn't mind.
But if that hadn't opened up, if you had been, Apple Store, Apple Store, Apple Store,
Oh man,
would you have continue to stay at the Apple Store? Like, would you still be in the Apple Store now in 5 years? Or what do you think you would have done if,
dude.
Wonka hadn't pulled your
The thing with Apple, like it was kind of a safe backup plan. Like it is
Sure.
tiring and it's a lot of hours, but their benefits are insane. Like they treat you so well. I probably would have just stuck it out until I don't know. I could have got fired at Apple because my temper was getting like a little pushed towards the end. Like Christmas season, we're out here like selling stuff on sale or whatever, and then someone comes in and they just like yell at you and they eviscerate you in front of all your coworkers, and you're just sitting there taking it.
Sir, you've said a typo.
Yeah,
Apple doesn't
literally.
do sales.
Oh yeah, well sorry, they give gift cards around the holiday season so you can
Yes.
go buy more stuff.
No, I
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
I worked at Best Buy for like, I don't know,
Oh man.
4 months or something like tepid. I should never have been
Exactly,
there.
bro. It's
But
normal price with a gift card in addition to it that you can't spend in the same
But
day.
I remember what, like, in one of the meetings they're like blah 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 blah, except for Apple. Apple never has a
You're so
sale.
right, bro. There
This
was
is like
no sale.
it's always full price. I'm
There
like,
was
all
no
right.
sale. It's always absolute top dollar.
Apple has some of my favorite rules. It's always full price. If you see somebody using Apple product in a movie, they cannot be the villain.
That's
There's one
crazy.
more.
I didn't know that.
That one's a fact. That
All right, I'm gonna be
Ryan
looking for it
Johnson's
now.
Ryan Johnson spoiled that after the first Knives Out. It's great. I was like, what the fuck? This
Yeah,
is
I
100% true.
gotta
It's
start
fucking
looking for that
gas.
now. Damn, so Samsung is always gonna be on the villain, I guess? That's
Yeah,
nuts.
probably. And Samsung's fine with it. They're like, cool, put our product in movies. Neat. I don't give a fuck.
Yep, nice.
Any press, good press. So, in many lines of work, there are secret terms that are only used by the people in the know. I mean, if there's a better one in Apple, go for it. But in your current position, is there any things that you say at work that if you said it outside of work, people would just be like, the fuck?
Oh man, there's so many like so imagine what games do you play, Isaac?
I've played Call of Duty, obviously play Magic the Gathering. That's how we met. Play Hearthstone. I've played many games over the years. I'm a true nerd.
So when you have a job in the gaming field, you just use that lingo in like board meetings. Like today, I have one example just from today. Like something was happening in a meeting and I said, "Oh dude, if that happened, I would be so checked." And in Call of Duty, like they say checked instead of like, "Oh, I checked out" or something like that. But they also say when they lose composure, they say, "Oh, I just lost full." Like I lost full composure. So like when something happens, be like, oh my god, I'm about to lose full, or like, oh, I'm so checked right now, I can't do the meeting, or something like that.
Does
That
any
happens all the time.
does what? I'm really imagining and hoping that if you ever are doing like work from home meetings, somebody goes like AFK when they need to use the bathroom.
Oh, it's so much stuff like that, and it's never ending, and it happens so much that I don't even notice it anymore.
Yeah, in the culture for the culture, love it.
100%.
So speaking of meetings, can you break down either if it's constant or if it's ever changing, a day or a week in the life of a professional gaming,
Documentary man.
documentarian. Yeah.
Oh man, it's really fun, first of all. So this might not sound like work to some people, but the amount of like intentionality and the amount of thought you do have to put behind like how you spend your time is really important. So I'll wake up and I'll get to the office around 9 to 9:30. We all work in an office, the same place that our players practice out of. And in that office, there's a Call of Duty team, a Valorant team, a League of Legends team, and they all will be practicing in their own separate rooms. So I'll get there and usually just look at a calendar or look at an agenda to see if there's anything mandatory I have to do. But then the cameras are on. So essentially, I'll start recording their scrimmages, the conversations between the players, the conversations between the coaches and the players, and just try not to miss anything all day, every day. So if something's about to happen, I already know that if something juicy happens, I'll have it documented. So then once I get to the tournament, I'll use some of the backstory from the beginning of the year, and then I'll interlace it with some of the stuff that might happen at the venue or at the hotel. And so I'm basically all day just rolling. And when I'm not rolling, I might be coming up with a concept for a podcast where our players might talk directly to the audience, or we might be making, as silly as it sounds, we might be making TikToks or Instagram reels just to boost our engagement and like interact with the fans more and stuff like that. So I'm either making TikToks or filming all day.
So when you say filming, are these people in these spaces? Do you have like cameras rigged up? Or are you in there with like a handheld? What kind of how does the filming aspect integrate?
We've got stuff ranging from either just the newest, greatest iPhone that we use just for filming in tight places. We have big cinema grade cameras that we'll take on the road. And then we even have like smaller, like DSLR or mirrorless cameras that we'll use like just day to day when you don't want to be carrying around like a huge, really heavy camera. But on any given day, I'll film with three different devices probably.
So I come from a similar background to you in that I went to film school. I focused more on the writing aspect, but I remember taking a class where we ended up getting to speak to a documentarian that had done this awesome thing where they had there was this old magazine called Miss Magazine, and they had gotten current women to read these stories of older women who wrote into Miss Magazine talking about life troubles, whatever. And they had gone to these different states, had people read, sometimes met the person who actually wrote the letter, yada yada yada. But when talking to the documentarian, I was like, "How much footage do you have?" Because it seems like
Oh, that's a
you're
good question for
the
him.
way you're doing this. And she was like, "Oh, to make this movie." By the way, for those of you at home, the movie was an hour, and I was like, "How much footage do you have?" She's like, "Oh, at least like 1,000 hours."
Yep.
It's like,
And
what the fuck? Like, how much footage do you have versus use?
so normally I will probably do about an hour a day. So that's about 7 hours a week. And then I film on the weekends as well. So this thing is usually 7 days a week because they'll play games on the weekends, like against real opponents for either a tournament or something online. And then throughout the week they're just practicing against other like good teams. So let's say seven hours of footage a week, and then a tournament is every 2 months. So if we do the math on that, that's a lot of hours. Hold on, let's see. 7 times 4, 28. Yeah, dude, it's like not as much, not 1,000, but to make a documentary, it's probably a little over 100 hours.
Okay. And like, how many hours is the documentary that you're making from these 100 hours?
We make about 30-minute docs, and
Okay.
so we do about five a year.
How much of the time how much time would you say you spend filming versus scrubbing through footage? Do you have like a guy for that? Are you able to like key mark enough that you like after you record something you're like, all right, that I want, kind of market it
Yeah,
a certain way, or are you just like, do you record it all and then just go back through and then find it?
I do it day to day. Like at the end of the day, I'll kind of just clip out the stuff I want. But a good rule of thumb for what I'm doing, I find about 1 minute of usable footage usually takes about 2 hours to edit and post. So if a thing is 30 minutes, it probably took 60 hours to edit. 2 hours per minute is probably accurate for me. And I'm not a slow editor.
Yeah, that's surprising. That's like actually like quite fast
We
for those
have
of
to
you that,
be,
yeah, it's because I mean a lot of it is you're matching the sound, you're
yeah.
matching frame, you're doing transitions, you're checking. Sometimes you're going back and that clip doesn't work, right? You have to like throw it out. You have to find a new one, or and a lot of this is also like this is a puzzle that you have to force together, right?
Oh my
Like this
God.
so much of this is you are creating a story from moments, but it needs to feel like it was intentional, like it was like destined by God, or
Exactly. It's so rare that the story tells itself. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like it is always like you feel like a conductor slash director slash like if you take it one direction, the whole audience will feel a completely different way than you intended, and you got to be like just super careful. But I do a good bit of writing just based on the true events that happened. So I'll try to kind of piece it around a narrative, but I don't know the narrative until the thing's already played out. You know what I mean?
for sure. So do you, speaking of narratives, do you ever write it down as like a, a script or like a beat plot or something like that, and then like move stuff around, or is it constantly, do you just have it kind of in your head?
I write down like kind of tree diagrams based on like, okay, if we win this game, I'll branch it out. Here are the things that could
Oh,
happen if
you're
we won.
you're gamifying storytelling.
Yep. And then if we and then I'll branch out on the other side. It says, all right, if we lose this, here are the possible things, the stories that could happen. So like we lose, all right. So this guy is mad at this guy. This guy lost to his rival, and then I'll branch out two little stories from each one. So it looks like a family tree by the time I'm done planning out how I want to actually structure it.
So you let the events kind of dictate the way the story is going to go, given like the way you've theory crafted what footage could be used to do like what story arcs.
Yes, because this esport I'm in for Call of Duty is so unpredictable. On any given day, I think there's more upsets in Call of Duty than any other esport. So it's like if you try to predict it, you might just be like wasting your time and thought.
That would be interesting to see how much that happens with, because I mean, I have to imagine to some degree this is some of what happens with the promo material for like ESPN. The way
Yeah.
they like to
Oh
tell
yeah.
stories and like that. I wonder how much of this is just, if we went in the back rooms, we would just see infinite tree diagrams and like whiteboards and like
Dude, if
notepads
they
and stuff
don't,
like
they should.
that. Here's the tech. Use it, gentlemen.
I'm a one-man team though, so like I know ESPN's probably got like 30, 20 dudes like all working on one project, I'd assume. But since I'm doing it all by myself, I have to be so efficient or else I'll just like miss the mark, or if I take too long, I'll post the documentary after it's old news, you know what I mean? And they're
Yeah.
already on to the next thing. Since these tournaments happen so frequently in the audience these days, like we're usually appealing to like 25 and under, so their attention spans are already pretty small and they're already on to the next thing sometimes. So you got to go fast.
How quickly after a tournament? So you do a tournament Sunday, you guys win, let's say. How quickly do you want that like short documentary to be out?
I'm trying to post a 30-minute doc at least like a week after it happens. So that means I have to be on top of all the editing leading up to the tournament, and then hopefully I just have to edit the tournament footage and the travel footage to add in at the very end.
So, of all the stuff that you have recorded, how much of it gets thrown away? Because I have to imagine you have to have like a kind of alt line. Like if you guys
Mhm.
lose, you're going to have some footage that would be only for if you lose, that you're going to use it for this storyline, right?
So true. Yeah, I'm a menace, dude. I don't get rid of anything, as in throw it away. Like I never trash
No, no,
anything.
no,
I
no.
just
But
have
what
so
what
many
I'm
hard
saying
drives.
is like,
Oh
how
yeah,
much of it do
get
you?
scrapped.
Yeah,
Oh,
does it get scrapped because you edit it, you have it ready so that you can, from the tournament footage that's going to take you a good amount of the week to edit down to, get to be the
yes.
last act of this documentary. How much of it have you previously edited for this other storyline that is now void because you guys won?
It happens so much. Like you predicted it like spot on. Like if I build up and I've already edited stuff for weeks that would basically hinge on this win or this loss, and then we lose, and then it's almost like I feel like I'm defeated and I'm back to square one. Because then I got to
The
go.
team lost and I lost.
It's like sometimes I just want to post it and act like we won it, and then let it keep going. But
Do like
then
the NFL teams do with their jerseys in like Africa. You know about this?
wait, no, inform
So,
me.
okay, after the Super Bowl happens, instantly there is merch for the team that won,
Oh yeah, sure, sure.
saying the name of the,
Yeah, Super
uh,
Bowl 67 or whatever.
yeah,
Yeah.
Super Bowl 67 was won by the San Diego Tyrants. Well, the fucking Oklahoma Panhandlers jersey was also made.
Oh my
So they
God.
just either, I don't remember if they sell it or they give it away, but there's kids in Africa that have this gear for a team that never
Never
won.
won. I want some of that gear. Wait, that's
Oh
that's
yeah, no,
that's
it's
fire. That's
busted.
unreleased tech. I like that.
Yeah, it's so
No,
awesome.
it's the same premise though. Like, and it's like my baby too. So it's literally like you're killing off something that you absolutely loved and you enjoyed making, and then you're like, well, no one's gonna ever see this. And sometimes I'll go back to my folders of like trashed like portions, and I'll just watch how happy we were before like a loss or something. Be like, man, tonight I'm gonna dream if we won. Like, head play that dream where we won, please. And that yeah, that happens a lot, dude.
So when you're on the tourney trail and just at work, how much of the time are you spending in and around the team? Like, are you like the water boy of the team in that you're kind of tertiary, you're around, they know your name, you hang out a little bit, but
Oh
you're not
yeah.
like on the field, or is it more like you're like a sniper that they never saw?
Even better, dude. I feel like I am the water boy of the team all the time. Like I'm attached to them at the hip. Like y'all are going out to eat, I'm coming, and so is the camera. Like every single time. Oh yeah, y'all are getting an Uber? Bet, get an XL. I'm coming with the camera. Every single time. Yeah, no, I don't leave them. The only time I'll leave them is like if we're on the same hall, we're all staying on the same hall. I'll go to my room and I'll sleep, and I'll try to get up first to make sure that whenever our star player goes to get breakfast, I'm filming what coffee he's getting. You know what I mean? Like I'm
have
in
they
there.
have they ever been like, dude, this is too close, or like ask you to like scrub a moment where they were like trying to rizz up a
Oh, dude,
somebody or
we
something
have
like that?
safe words for sure. Like if they like somebody's picking their nose or something even worse that they don't want on camera, you're just like, okay, uh, they'll say their safe word, and then when I see that in editing, I'm like, okay, I know for sure to cut that.
Oh, but you just keep rolling and you're like, all right, well,
Yep, yep, and they know the safe word was said, so anything after the safe word is fair game. Yeah.
That's awesome. Do they each have different ones? Or
No,
is
no,
it
no. It's the
oh,
same
okay.
one, and I can't even
I
say
was
it.
I was really hoping no, please
They
don't.
they say something like not incriminating, but like okay, I can't put that in the video. They
Yeah,
just cuss basically.
yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
was really hoping it was each different, like a
no.
BDSM room or something
They
like
don't. They
that.
one will do it, and then the
Flower
rest of them will.
taco, like all
Yeah,
right.
exactly. And then the rest will pick up on whatever the safe word is and just assume that's the safe word now. So yeah, that happens a lot. I cut so much of that kind of stuff. Like especially like if somebody like spills a water bottle like on their controller or something. Like as much as I want to keep things like that in, it's like I probably shouldn't.
How do you feel like, and I don't mean to be kind of degrading this way, but do you feel like you're part of the team, or are you the younger brother that like they were like, all right, fine, he can come on the tour bus?
Dude, yeah, the older brother though. Yeah, they're all like 18.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
So you're like the uncle that they're like,
dude, I
we'll
might be
buy
the
us
dad. I don't
beers.
know. Yeah, exactly. I've got like 10-year gap on some of them, and yeah, I'm definitely the older brother.
That's so cool.
I find
So,
myself giving unsolicited advice all the time.
dude, don't do it. You're gonna wake up in the morning and regret
Yep.
it. So this is kind of rare. That I have a question that I generally like to ask, which is in movies and TV. How is your passion shown correctly or incorrectly? But your passion is so unknown that they've never probably made a movie or a TV
Gran
show about it.
Turismo. Have you seen the new Gran Turismo?
I have not.
If anyone listening, it's just basically about a gamer playing a racing simulator who
Yeah,
ends up getting a chance to be our actual race car driver. And it's very recent. I think it came out this year.
but you feel like that's a good represent or a representation of your occupation though.
Pretty good. Yeah, and I would essentially just be I feel like I'm making that movie all the time, but I've been making that movie for 10 years.
How do they show? But what I was gonna go towards, if you're still game, is what? How do they show somebody who's loved video games and has documented video games? How do you think they show other than like esports? How do you think they show video games in film? Is it inaccurate? Do some of them get it
Oh
right?
man.
When it comes to that sport aspect?
It's getting better. I would love like a quality like Netflix produced like doc on like the life of a gamer or it follows them from being not a pro to then becoming a pro. I have not even found a good version of that in the actual like produced, well done film industry. I wish there was something like that, but if you want anything like that, there's a lot of stuff on YouTube, but never in theaters, never on Netflix, but
Yeah.
plenty of stuff in the genre on YouTube. And that's usually what I'm watching too. Like I don't find myself going to the movies or even pulling up Netflix or Hulu or anything like that. I'm mostly just watching similar videos on YouTube and learning from those and taking notes and stuff like that.
What video game player, either still playing or retired, do you wish you got to kind of cover?
It would be the CEO of this company. His gamer tag was Nade Shot, and I wish I got to follow him in his prime. He
Just
was
that
a Call of
that
Duty pro.
that good? Was he just you were a big fan of his style? What was it about him that
Dude,
drew you?
personality and the way he led his teams, like he was always like he was never on the top, he was never on the bottom, always like close to the top, in the middle, but his leadership and his like passion to get his teammates all on board and to get them in a good mood when they're maybe in a bad mood and like bring his teammates up. I wish I got to document that kind of stuff because that guy was like one of a kind who may never be recreated. And I'm always looking for like players that might emulate that style or something like that because I would love to tell a story of like a really fearless leader like that.
So a lot of people know about esports, and they might even know about, the fact that there is footage, documentaries, vlogs done about it. But what would you say is their biggest misconception about what you do?
I mean, the obvious would be that they just sit in their room all day. They're nerds or they're unathletic and stuff like that. But the amount of teamwork and cooperation and social skills you need to be a pro, like you can have a bad attitude and shoot really straight and win every game online. But when it comes to going against another four cohesive group of individuals that are working together, communicating together, the social skills that these pro gamers have to have are way better than the average. Like I would equate their stamina and ability to communicate under pressure, like life or death, buzzer beater scenarios, like unreal. They have ice, is what I would call it. Like they've got ice in their veins at all times, and that is like the biggest determining factor from being like a top amateur to a pro is your social skills.
That's cool. So you're saying stamina, and that they, these like sweaty nerds, do they have to work out? Like,
They're
is
really recommended. Like we have personal trainers and stuff that'll come in and give them dietary recommendations and workout regimens and stuff like that. Because I mean, even though they're sitting there, their heart rate needs to be right, their diet needs to be right, or else their mental won't be is fortified as it should be for these long tournaments where you might be playing for like 12 hours a day. And you kind of feel that sometimes too, especially like if you're going to a Magic tournament, you're playing for 10 hours in one day, you might start slipping towards the end. You know what I mean? And these guys
yeah,
can't.
you can't. Yeah, you can't have that. So on the flip reverse of this, what is your favorite non-obvious aspect that a lot of, the outside public, even the fans maybe, aren't privy to, that you just get to bask in?
Man, my favorite aspect of working with this team would probably be just like the stuff that happens off camera because I'm always filming. And when I can just kind of like get these guys candid, they're not playing it up for the camera. We might just be like shooting basketball, going out to dinner, just making jokes. Like it's the camaraderie. Like I actually feel like I'm part of the team kind of. And
Hell yeah.
it's the friendship definitely that I cherish the most in this industry.
Do you ever ruin your own shot by like talking?
So
Or do you have
much,
to do you
dude.
have
I
to like
breathe loud. I breathe loud. And so it picks up me breathing heavy. Like if they're in a clutch situation, I might not even be able to use the audio on my camera because I'm breathing so damn loud on the stage. It's insane. I ruin them with my breath every single day and it upsets me.
Are there like workarounds in post, or do you just have to like add music, or like do you have like another mic somewhere to use like
Exactly,
ringtone?
bro. Cut to literally anything but me breathing. Now, I'll find every way in the book to use some other audio, whether it's from a live broadcaster, like breaking down the gameplay, or maybe I have one of the players mic'd up. I'll switch to anything when I hear myself breathing. And I'm sure 90% of the audience won't notice it, but me sitting in the lab with
Yeah,
headphones on, I'm only thinking about me breathing. Forget everything else. I can just hear myself. It's so annoying.
it's the same thing in edits of this. When I hear like a common like word or phrase that I use, it's just like, oh god damn it,
Oh,
why did
I
I
do
say
the
that?
same thing. I do the same thing. And I try to just I try to keep my voice off the tape as much as possible.
So are you, when you're hanging out, are you like, when you're talking, do you find yourself being more silent because you're gonna have to edit yourself out, or do you
Oh yeah.
still? Okay, so
It's a lot of fly on the wall. Like not necessarily sniper. I'm just dead silent 2 feet away from you. Close. and
just a
and I'm
creeper.
big. For those listening, I'm like 6'5". Like
Yeah, he's a
I'm a
tall
presence,
man.
but I'm casting a shadow on these guys. Yeah, no, I'm very close and very silent, and I'm really good at not getting in the way, but sometimes I definitely get in the way for sure.
What is the moment in the edit or after turning in the product? What's your proudest moment as being a documentarian for this team?
Last year I got to capture us winning like a $200,000 first place, and being able to actually film the winning moment and not fuck up the shot is all I need. Like I'll die with that. That's all I needed to do. And when I cut it together, I had all their mics going in at once, so you could hear their live reactions. I didn't mess the shot up. I got them screaming, celebrating. Yeah, I live for just us winning some type of tournament and being able to capture it and then do it justice later on.
Hell yeah. All right, well we're gonna have to change gears, swap lanes, so to speak.
Let's do it.
Talked about what you love. Time to talk about what you hate.
Here we go.
Austin, what is your preposterous peeve?
I actually had to ask somebody like close to me what mine was, because when you think of like, when you try to think of your own pet peeve, you try to like do yourself justice and not say like something bad about yourself. But
Yeah.
I have this habit, dude. My pet peeve is people changing plans last minute, like during a day. Like just say we have something scheduled for weeks, and then on the day of, you gave me 5 hours notice, that's fine. Not you, but someone give me 5 hours notice. If they change the plans, like I've already planned out my entire day in my entire head or my in my head. I can't change it, dude. I'm just gonna chalk it and not go. Like there's no way you're changing plans on me, or it better be a great reason, because I cannot handle like breaking the routine or doing something that I didn't plan on doing, because I'm like so passionate about like games, magic, uh editing, video making. Like I'm passionate about food as well. Like if I don't get to do something else that I planned on doing because you wanted to change the plan, I'm not rearranging the rest of my day. I'm just not going.
Was this something that happened since you got this job where, you a lot of your time is kind of spoken for, you want to be able to use the time afterwards to kind of unwind, then your weekends are kind of predominantly getting eaten alive? Or is this something that even back when you were like before you started this journey to ascend Everest that you were still having problems with, back in high school, back in like,
Oh yeah.
early college, was this still an issue for you?
I blame my parents for structuring my childhood so much.
It was the
Uh,
chore chart. It did me in from the beginning.
Dude, I was an only child, so whenever I would just have days off or Saturdays or Sundays, my parents would make sure that I had stuff to go do. And I would look forward to those things, like whether it's a birthday party or you're going to
Yeah.
grandma's or whatever. And I would just, ever since then, I was just meticulously planning, all right, I'm gonna wake up, I'm gonna play Call of Duty for 4 hours. All right, then I'm gonna eat lunch and go to grandma's. Then I'm gonna come home and I'm gonna watch this show, play Call of Duty for another hour, and go to bed. And if anything, and that's what I'm doing that day, no matter what. Like if somebody cancels, that's
If
fine.
grandma dies, I'm sitting with her corpse, and then
Like,
I'm
bro,
coming
I'm
home.
going there. Like, you can't switch up on me. Yeah, exactly, dude. And it's hindered me my whole life. And relationships and friendships have definitely suffered from it, because those are the people that tell me that I need to be more flexible with my time.
How about you be more strict with your time? How
That's,
about
you
that?
see, then I get called an only child. So there's no winning in this situation.
That's such a specific thing. Only child.
Dude,
What?
it's a syndrome, man. There's so many only children I meet that I relate to. I don't know what it is, but we're a special breed.
I mean, the funny thing is, I have for the longest time. I'm barely getting out of it now. I had that conniption as well, and then I would like foist it. But I'm not an only child. I have a younger brother,
Bro,
so
you got
like,
only
but
child syndrome.
I got only child syndrome for like my 6 years on Earth, where I was an only child. It's fucking wild.
Yeah, it's just something special. I've got it all planned out. Like especially like today, like if you said 7 or 6:30 is not going to work, we're gonna have to do 8:30. I was gonna be like, nah, dude, we gotta do it Monday. Like I've
We
already
gotta
got
do another
something
day.
lined up
Yeah.
after this, and all it is just playing Magic on the computer. But damn it, I'm doing that at 8:45 or whatever.
I mean, one, respect, commitment to the brand, love it.
Yes,
But
sir.
also, like, I mean, it works really well with what you do because so much of your occupation is scheduled. The tournaments start at this time,
Yep.
and other than a production problem or something like that, they're gonna start at that time.
Yep.
You guys are gonna, you have a schedule, so that is like very good for that. However, I'm sure there's times in your life where it wasn't so good. Do you have a
Oh yeah.
story or a moment where like was a mountain instead of a molehill?
Dude, it just like if I when I was I'm dating a girl now, but before I was dating somebody, like if I when I was single and somebody would like that I really want to meet up would change the plan, I would just chalk it and never talk to him again, like on the spot. Like you're already changing
Just
plans.
deleting the number from your
Yeah, changing
phone.
plans before the first date. I'm done. We're not changing plans. I'll be at the restaurant, by the way, whether you're there or not.
I am still seat for two. Yeah, it'll be me and this backpack.
Yeah, and that happened in college for sure. Like I would try to like rizz up and be like, yeah, we're gonna do this. I go all out. I make the plan, make the reservation, whatever. You want to be 30 minutes late? Now I got to change the reservation. Maybe next time.
No,
Like,
no, I don't.
yeah, we'll
I
try
have
again
to
next
eat
year.
by myself, and then you can be here for drinks. I guess.
Exactly, bro. Yep, that happened to me a lot. Just anytime, like, especially with like friends and family and stuff. If people are changing stuff, I am lenient with friends and family that I really care about. But if I don't have like that insane bond or like trust with you, I'm not changing no plans.
How much could your job, let's say you go to a tournament, shit gets weird. How much leniency are you going to give your dream job? Like
That's
it
the
can.
only place where I would die from pain from changing plans so much, but I have to do it. Like that's the one thing I won't risk. Like, oh yeah, you need me to be flexible? Damn, I'm made of rubber. Fuck it.
All right. Well, lastly, before we throw it to commercial break, if you could have listeners of this podcast hear one song of your choosing, which would it be?
All right. I'm an angsty little boy at heart. I chose the song "Save That Shit" by Little Peep, and that was an artist that I really got an affinity for, and then he ended up dying. And all his music that is out right now is probably the only music that'll ever be out. So that's my favorite song from him.
Hell yeah. All right, with that, we're going to throw it to our sponsors. So Austin can have a minute or two to put on this here rubber suit before we get all up in the lightning round. But
Heck yeah.
if advertisements aren't your thing, why not have a listen to Save That Shit by Little Peep? Or if you really wanted to hear a song from a previous episode, check out the playlist on Spotify, Passionate People and Preposterous Beef Podcast, Song Rex. It's a long title, I know. Don't worry, there's a link in the description. Either way, see you in a bit. Have you ever wanted to kill a small woodland creature or break a window but not had the physical strength? I know I have. Now introducing Rock. Rock comes in a variation of sizes and ready to use. Simply put rock in your hand, raise it back to ear level, and release. See? You've got it! This ad does not condone the violence against small woodland creatures or windows, nor will it be held liable for any inability of use when coming into contact with paper. And we're back! Austin, are you ready to enter lightning round?
The lightning round.
I'm so ready.
All right, buckle your seatbelts and keep your arms inside the ride at all times. Is peeing in the shower normal human behavior, or just for those filthy mer people?
It is for the filthy mer people, and if I've done it, I will never admit to it.
Make the food or do the dishes?
Ooh, neither.
Are hot dogs tacos?
Yeah, that's fine. I'll give you that.
Would you rather your first kiss had been next to a pig pen or inside a dumpster?
Or next to a pig pen.
Is karma real?
Yes, 100%.
Is professional wrestling cool or lame?
Both.
Is there a price for you to give up your passion forever?
I'm sure.
You're having the best day of your life. What happens next? Another amazing thing or something terrible?
Oh, dude, I believe in balance, so probably something terrible.
Have you ever had a crush on a cartoon character?
Hell yeah. Kim Possible.
Respect on the name. Album, shuffle, or playlist?
Shuffle for sure.
Did you ever cheat on a test in school?
Allegedly.
Is there such a thing as a perfect piece of art?
Yes.
Would you rather have McDonald's or a steak dinner from a charity event as your final meal?
A charity event?
Would you rather smoke too much weed or drink too much booze?
Neither. I don't partake in the devil's activities.
Do you create your own thoughts or do you just listen to them?
Yes.
Would you would you rather have tentacle arms or kangaroo legs?
Tentacle arms, and it's not even close. You'd look so weird with kangaroo legs. Don't correct me.
Which is realer, mermaids or Bigfoot?
Probably Bigfoot. I think that's very likely. Mermaids, that's a stretch, dude.
Do you prefer, or blah, blah. Do you people who prefer Pepsi to Coke deserve rights?
They do deserve rights.
I'm gonna stand on that. Austin Anderson, 2028. Do people have an inherent duty to help others?
Yeah,
Perhaps even a call of duty. Are you out of
perhaps.
touch? Are you out of touch, or is it the children who are wrong?
I'm out of touch.
Would you rather meet an alien or ghost?
Oh no. I'm so scared of both. Like those are my actual two fears. I hope I get to meet an alien before a ghost.
Skydiving or deep sea diving?
Holy shit. I'm also afraid of both of those. It's deep sea diving. I just don't want to go too far.
Could you eat 37 of your favorite food for $5,000 in a 1 hour time limit?
No, no way. So
Well,
much Chick-fil-A.
well, either way, congratulations. You've survived the lightning round.
Woo! We made it. Damn,
Now
those
as,
are tough. Those are hard.
now, as a reward, my galvant guest, I grant thee a lightning round question of your own to be echoed until we get
All
bored of it.
right.
What
Are
you
you
got?
ready?
I'm ready. Hit me. Or please don't.
Well,
But just ask me your
actually,
question.
that's kind of what my question is about. Have you ever been in a fist fight?
Technically.
What do you mean technically?
So I was in 8th grade sitting at the lunch table.
It was at school?
It
Those
was
are the
at
worst.
school. It ended up being the best because I would have gotten my ass kicked.
Okay.
So I was sitting there eating a delightful school bagel with strawberry cream cheese, my favorite at the time, and still arguably now. And I'm sitting there eating it, and this kid who I kind of know came up and asked some dumb question, probably about my bagel, because I looked down and he mushed my face into it.
Oh no, it's
And I
on.
was like, fucking fighting words. You don't fuck with a man's bagel, not with strawberry cream cheese. You don't, not in this country, my
That's
friend.
justified.
And I threw it, and I clean hit, just straight backpack, just nailed it, drilled the
Hell
shot,
yeah.
10 out of 10. And he came back trying to make his own shot, and I'm sure backpacks were grabbed. I don't think punches were traditionally exchanged, but technically, 8th grade style they were. And then a teacher was there within like 5 seconds and was like, break it up. And we're like, fuck him, he ruined my bagel.
Bro, back then, even a small altercation like that would land you an in-school suspension. Did you have to do anything like that?
I did not somehow, actually. That's kind of odd
Oh,
thinking about it now. I dodged.
hell yeah.
What about you? Have you ever gone fisticuffs with a friendo
Dude,
or not so friendo?
I have. It happened a couple times in elementary school, like some playground related stuff, whether it's about like kickball or somebody took the good kickball and I wanted that one, so I had to go get it, and then they wanted to come get it from me. But most recently, I was playing in like I would say like a college indoor soccer league, and I just got knocked out. Like I don't consider it a fight because I just got one punch in the face and I was down. And I woke up like probably 30 seconds later, and the whole team was fighting the other team, and I was on the ground.
The fuck?
I was the martyr, dude. I was the first one down.
What was the altercation? Did you just walk up and just just slam
Dude,
you?
I was
Or?
I was a goalie, and I was a little bit dirty, and I'm sure I did something to deserve it, but I don't remember much of it, to be honest. But I
Not
got
now.
laid out in front of everybody, and then when I woke up, they were just going at it. My boys had my back. They were just absolutely winning.
All right.
I lost a fight, but I won the war.
Oh, all right, my friend. Well, as we come to a close here, is there anything you want to plug, shout-outs you'd like to give, places people can find you or your content?
Bro, guys, watch my documentaries. It's Los Angeles Thieves, LA Thieves on YouTube. That's it. I don't want to plug anything personal. Just watch my work.
Hell yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, dude, this was a blast. Well, thank you, Austin, for being my guest today, and a special thanks to my editor, Richard Ashford, and my composer, Joshua Gibbons. And thank you, yes, you listening at home, or you found time to appreciate this. Time is the most precious commodity we have, and I really do appreciate you spending yours with us. If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe, like, or just share it with a friend. Every little bit helps. Or if you already have and are out of episodes to listen to, don't worry, we put out a new episode every Monday at midnight on SoundCloud, YouTube, Spotify, and iTunes at Passionate People and Preposterous Peeves podcast. And a very special thanks are due to our patrons, Sibella Yellow. If you'd like to join said illustrious ranks and have your name read aloud, just head on over to patreon.com patreon.com/passionate people and preposterous peeves podcast. And remember, folks, if days are numbered and songs are sung, at the end of the day, I think we've all won. So please stick around, because great things have only just begun.